This is kind of how I approach practice putting before a round. I do like to putt first because once I leave the range with my body and tightening up, I go right from the range of the first tee. So basically, when I show up at any given Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I like to putt really long putts just to get the feel of the greens. Down here in Florida, look at that putt off the green. We're on Bermuda. And so you just got to get used to how far the ball's going to roll and the speed of the greens. And the reason I choose 40 and 50 footers to start is because now I feel like I can loosen up when I'm walking to that hole instead of, for instance, being real close and just standing over 4 footers like this for 15 minutes. My back just can't take it. But basically, that's the goal. And then I just walk up. I'm not really interested in, I'm 100 years old now, so I'm not really interested in saying, hey, you know, I'm making every 5-foot putt. So this is down grain because it's real shiny. You see for people at home, you see the scarring? So that means the grass is laying that way. So it's going to be extremely fast going down to that flag. I mean, that's a very fast putt. And once again, when you're on the green and you're looking, a lot of people look where the hole's burnt. This is on Bermuda grass. But if it's really shiny, you're with the grain. And when you turn around and come back, it'll be real dark. And that means you're into the grain. But you wouldn't think that putt's going to get there, but it's going to come very close. So that's kind of a big teaching point in Florida or Hawaii where you have what they call these Bermuda greens. So I hit those putts. And once again, this is for me now. And a lot of people my age are playing a lot of golf, but just moving around helps my body. It gets me straight. Because once again, this stance right here is no good for me to stay here for quite a while and just putt real short putts. I get to that at the end. So after about 10 minutes of longer putts, then I'll go and hit my shorter putts. So once again, you know, when I hopped on the green, the first one I hit 15 feet behind the fringe, and then now I've kind of got the feel of the greens. I think the hardest thing in putting is really when you line up a putt and you stand back here and I can read this putt, it's going to break slightly to the right or very straight. When I go over this, now all hell breaks loose because my eyes are getting worse, but it looks like I'm aiming way to the right. So I really need to focus on when I line this putt up. So if I was in a tournament, I'd come up here a little bit and I would look through this area. And this is, I'm not a spot putter, but I need to be looking through there. And it's just because my right eye is getting a little weaker. So now I'm looking there and I set the putter up to that. So now I'm in pretty good shape. And now I know, again, this is going to be kind of fast. Story of my life. I lipped them all out. But that's kind of the goal. I'm trying to get the pace of the greens. Am I trying to make these? Not really. I mean, if anyone's seen me, I talk a lot. I slap them around. But again, right now, I'm just trying to get the pace of the green. And so that I hit a little softer, obviously. And then you can tell by the follow through, I'm going to hit this a little harder, but the follow through will be a little crispier. So a lot of times you'll watch people putt. Sometimes they'll follow through and maybe hold the putter. Another time they'll stop it there. They're just trying to get the feel of how hard you can hit a putt. So the easiest greens to putt on are certainly ones that you know. So at your home course, you almost don't really even have to line them up. You just go, oh God, I've had this putt 100 times. But you're always trying to get the pace. So I've played with a lot of amateurs, you know, when they get on there and they think they know the speed of the greens and they hit it in a Pro-Am or something and they hit a putt like that and it goes 10 feet by and they'll go, wow, the greens are fast. It happens, you know, like if you'd never see a tour player do that, but when you don't get the feel of the greens, and all that is you're just trying to stroke the putt. So a lot of times when I do practice, I'll put a tee here and a tee there, and then I'll putt in the same spot. So if this is, what is this, 10 or 12 feet, so I know that I'll put the tee in the ground, so I can, the putter will go over the tee to about right there, and it'll follow through over that tee, which helps me hit it 10 or 12 feet. Other than that, I you know, they have some tees set up here. I don't really do drills. I mean, when I was in my 30s, I did. But now the main goal is to really feel good about pace of the greens and then just go play. And a lot of times when I'm at home, like I said, I play the home course, I don't even practice putt. Because the bending over, it just really, really crushes my back. So, you know, I was laughing with Tiger a little earlier. I said, you know, when you come back, the practice putting, you just don't do it anymore. You know, like Jason Day, he'll go to the desert. I've never seen him out there, but I know where he goes and he works really hard. They'll say he'll be on the putting and chipping green for 4 or 5 hours. When I was 30, 32, 34, I tried to do that as much as I could, but I bet I haven't spent more than 20 minutes on a putting green in 15 years. I'm not proud of that, but I just know that I can get through it. You know, any little extra of this just kills me. So that's my excuse, but I do like to screw around chipping, sand shots, but the putting, just the hinge is a lot. It'd be like me just trying out a new driver and hitting 50 drives. That's not going to work. I got to pace myself and figure it out. Putting, I think, is an art. It's very much, 3 things have to happen, right? You have to read the putt. Then once you get over it, your eyes and putter have to line up to where you've read the putt. And then the third thing is you got to hit it with the right speed. We'll always laugh because when I play with guys, they show up and they hit a pitching wedge and then maybe they hit an 8-iron and they go right to the driver. And they just got out of the car and everything's really fast. For me, putting, it all needs to calm down. And everyone knows that when I hit putts, I have a real long putting stroke until I get close to the hole, and then it comes shorter. But I'll just say that tee actually works out pretty well there. So I'm going to try and aim this ball at that tee. And now for me to make it, I have to hit it at that tee and in the right speed. Otherwise, you're never going to make this putt. So you can always hit a putt a little hard or a little soft, but I'm going to try and hit this softer, and I believe it'll break across the hole. Well, I hit it beautifully there, but so that's not awful. But if I'd have hit the putt to there, it probably would have went in. So that's I read it correctly, but I just hit it too soft. Now I can go the other way. If I give it a little too much, a little goosey, then it won't take the break. So that's the art of putting. Now, in my opinion, you can pick your poison. Because if you did all 3 of those things correctly, you'd be a much better golfer. So for me, I think the most important thing is putting is the feel of it. And what I mean by that is you're never ever going to 3-putt from here. You may hit a putt too soft, and that should break off. But if you don't have feel and you go oh my God, it looks like it's going in, and then it goes 4 feet by and you miss it coming back, you're just throwing away strokes. So in my goal, when I go putt, I try and get the feel of the greens. And I feel like I'm 66 years old. I've been doing it since I was 20, or I'm really 10 years old. I have pretty good feel. But if you don't, then you have to do a couple drills. A good drill would be you have 3 balls here. You're gonna try and hit one and then space the next one a couple feet further and then a couple feet further. So don't start at 40 feet, but just try and hit a 15 or 20 footer. Now you gotta remember, what did I just do there? Well, I just gave it a little bit of a hit, so this one I want to go a little further. I probably hit that a little, that's probably 4 feet by. But then you always wanna hit this one the same distance as you hit the last one by. So those are very, very close. I'd like them to be a little closer, but that's going, first stroke was here, second one was a little harder, and third one was a little harder. Not going there and there and there, because you're still using your stroke. So that's probably the best drill you can do. And it's much harder to do when you're going downhill, because now you really got to control. A lot of times when I leave the green, this is all kind of fun made up stuff, but it's not. But if you watch me, so like that's my bag there and my caddy's there. Right at the end when I leave the green, I try and putt as close as I can to the fringe. And it's just, two things happen. I hit 3 more putts, and then I'm heading to my bag and heading to the first tee. So that's way short. And then the last thing I do is I scoop them up and I go play.